Yo guys, what is up? Moxsy here with another Borderlands 3 video, and today we have something special for you. Today we are doing my episode number 2 of Moxsy's Bar, our weekly podcast series. The last podcast that we did got received very well, and I was really thrilled to see all of your guys' thoughtful comments and like in-depth thoughts on what you guys thought about the end game of Borderlands 3 and like things that you thought could be improved and things that could be better. So I really did appreciate that, and I'm glad that you guys like listening to that. Today on the agenda, we've got a bunch of things to talk about. We'll keep it still like on the shorter side, but we do have some things to get over. Hopefully we'll have some timestamps down in the description for if you're looking for a specific thing. But we're going to be talking about the patch notes today, the October 17th patch notes. I'm going to do like a brief overview for them. And we'll also be doing... last time we talked about endgame. On today's agenda, we're going to be talking about the new Guardian rank system. And we're also going to be talking about general character design, character flaws, things that went well, things that didn't go well, and the ideas of new vault hunters and versus adding new skill trees. So, we're about to get right into it. In the background, since we are live on Twitch, by the way, we're filming this live on Twitch every night, Sunday night at 8 p.m. to be posted on Monday for you guys. But just gonna be like playing our Sheriff Zane build. In case you guys are wondering, these are modifiers, and this is the build. If you haven't seen the video, go check it out. Not going to really be talking much about that, but it is a really cool build. But yeah, so let's talk about these patch notes. So the patch notes, if you had to sum them up into one word, I guess they would be called... People are now calling Borderlands 3 Nerflands, which I think is really... funny. Overall, the patch notes basically took a lot of the strong weapons, the powerful weapons in the game, and nerfed them. Why Gearbox did that, we aren't really sure. I'm just gonna turn down the game volume. But yeah, very, very confusing onto like what they're doing. I still think that they're trying to balance things out for additional content and new endgame, that they don't want people to be like absolutely powering through things. Nerfing things the way they're doing does open up for more diversity and options and builds, and so for that I'm all for. I'm a big fan of having multiple options for builds, but taking away people's favorite things, not taking them away, but they also nerfed a lot of things with characters, and it can be really frustrating in a game like this where the end game is a grind. The end game is a grind to get your favorite gear at the moment, your most perfect gear, whether that's through trading, whether that's through farming, and so I understand people's frustrations, and in general, I'm also kind of confused on all the fixes. Gearbox did say that weapon balances are easier to do because it requires less time, or what they were saying is that they can just go in and adjust these numbers. It doesn't take that much time, but things like bugs and other things take a lot longer. I am in the party/side that I'm okay with things taking longer. As long as they're working on it, that's fine. But I do think that there are better things to do than nerfing the hex grenade and like nerfing the spectacle and like wow factor of a lot of these guns that we were using. just to read it out for you guys. So if you haven't seen the patch notes, you can get your information from here. But they increased the damage of some of the underperforming guns, such as the ASMD and the Wester gun. They reduced the Cutsman damage. They increased 10 gallons damage. For Vladoff weapons, they increased the damage of the Infinity, the Phaser, the Magnificent, the Jericho. They nerfed the Lucian's Call, accuracy and handling. They nerfed the Lyuda. Apparently, Gearbox saw my video that said, "Lol, Gearbox buffed the Lyuda." Maybe we shouldn't have made that the title, but they nerfed the Lyuda now. Lyuda is still probably the best sniper in the game, depending on what you're doing. If you've seen my sniper Amara build, the Monocle is also a nasty sniper. But overall, for all characters, I'd say the Lyuda is probably still the best sniper. They nerfed the hell out of the Flacker. One thing that's cool about the Flacker, so like when they're nerfing it for one build, like Mose and her, like Mose has obviously got hit hard with the Flacker nerf, and so did Flak. Amara can use the Flacker well, not as well as those other two, but for like something like that, the Flacker, like you could take advantage of it on like Zane with like duct tape mod. So it does open, because now your first shot fired is always going to be your first shot. So it does open up some cool build possibilities in other areas while taking away from other builds. But overall, like I really do think that these builds, these changes are more frustrating than they are exciting for players. I would rather just have them make all the other guns better than nerfing the good ones, and then you just buff the health of the enemies. They increased the damage of the Maggie by 35%. Amen, Gearbox, great change. If you haven't seen the Sheriff Zane build with this Maggie, it slaps. So thank you, Gearbox. Good change there. Increased the damage of the Conference Call. They reduced the Crossroads projectiles from 4 to 3. They increased the damage of the Linoge. If you haven't seen my video of the best pistols on Amara, the Linoge slaps. It can one-clip Grave Ward, so that damage plus 20% is real nice. Pain as power is increased. Elemental Projector got nerfed. A lot of people, as soon as the hot fix went out, people were asking me like, Moxsy, like, what's the best build now? What changes? Because obviously, if you've seen my videos, I have made videos specifically talking and using and showing how good the Cutsman is, the Crossroad is, the Lyuda, and the Elemental Projector, along with the Sellout. So if you're looking for my like one-stop shop answer, it doesn't change anything. Elemental Projector was stated at 183, but was only actually doing 113 damage. Getting 90% increased damage from a relic for literally doing nothing is still incredible. So still strongly recommend the Elemental Projector. I have been looking into using Victory Rush Relic and swapping certain breeds of Victory Rush relics for our Amara. Just because I've fallen in love so much with this Icebreaker Victory Rush, and I think we could find something to use on Armara that would be similar. But at the moment, no changes to our builds. There are some new skill interactions that I have found that work really well, and some new gear that I've gotten. So for that, I'll make an update. But if you guys were enjoying the Amara builds before, they are still doing very well. I have gone back and tested their damage against Grave Ward and Slaughter Shaft. Didn't need to really change anything. In terms of Vault Hunters, they have made some Vault Hunter changes. They buffed Digiclone, Iron Bear and Flax Pets, and then some bug fixes. Overall, I would love to see the changes that I think this game needs the most is, at the moment, if they're going to be fixing things that aren't like adding content, is fixing skills. They've been doing a good job fixing skills. But what I'm talking about is, like, for example, like Winter's Drone, they removed the damage penalty on it from having this augment equipped, which is cool. That's a nice change to our an improvement. But what I'm talking about when like fixing skills is that skills that just like didn't work, that still don't work and still haven't been touched. Zane has a lot of these skills. Amara had a few. I don't know as much about Flak and Moze because I haven't done testing myself with them. But one of the most frustrating things is picking up a skill that doesn't work and thinking it does work because it says it works. Distributed Denial has the potential to be one of the coolest capstones in the game. Could be super useful and a huge impact on endgame. If the endgame expands to needing or requiring co-op, Distributed Denial would be an absolute amazing shield. Right now it is pretty much bugged out of its mind, and that's why I switched my build and took it out. But skill fixes like that and interactions should be at the priority of Gearbox's like to-do list, in my opinion. I don't know how they released this game with so many skills not working. I know they have playtesters, and like there's like this weird like internal dilemma that I have where it's like, yes, this game is amazing. Yes, so many things are great about it, but like, how did this get by them? Or like, how did this slip through the cracks? Because it shouldn't have. Which like kind of makes me question like how much they really play tested it. You guys don't know this. I actually applied to be a playtester for Gearbox like a year and a half ago, maybe, just because I thought it would be cool. I obviously didn't get it. Otherwise, I would have said something. But yeah, there's just a lot that isn't fixed that should be, and the game's been out for a long enough time that things like that are very core to how you play should be fixed by now. So that was the rant on the patch notes. Overall, I'm not loving the direction that the patches are going in. There's always some like good and some bad, but we'll see. We have the day 30 patch coming out, which should increase or fix a lot of things that are more hard-coded into the game, more hard-coded issues, and then we'll finally be able to use what's it called, like the Twitch overlay or the EchoCast extension. So super excited about that. But yeah, let's get into what I wanted to talk about today. For besides like patch notes, we talked about patch notes last time, was character design, skills, build diversity, and Guardian rank. We're first going to talk about Guardian rank because Guardian rank is brand new to the game. There was obviously Badass rank in Borderlands 2, but Guardian rank is a brand new feature to the game, and because of that, we have the most to talk about, and there's also the most like risk and things that they could do with this. So Guardian rank is something that you unlock after you beat the story. As you kill things, you earn XP, giving you more incentive to keep playing the game and grinding to get bonus stats to improve your character. In this way, a fresh level 50 character or a person hitting level 50 for the first time won't have as much benefits, or their character won't be as good as a level 50 character that's been playing for 200 hours. So for that reason and that fact alone, Guardian ranks are a welcome improvement. Baddest ranks were nice. I do like what they added with the Guardian ranks, and I'm happy that they're here, but to me they feel a little half-assed, to be honest. Guardian ranks are not finite. You have an infinite reward, I guess, for playing. Someone just asked if they cap at 15%. They do not. You can keep going past 15%, but the increments are crazy small, going up by like 0.001% or something like that. I don't know the exact number, but you can still get benefits from playing more. You can go above 15%, but you experience crazy diminishing returns on that. The stats that you can boost with your Guardian rank are pretty like what you'd expect. What I wanted to talk about was these perks and how they're enabled and how they work. So the fact that they added perks is super cool. What I don't like about the added perks is the way that you earn them and the diversity in them. And I'll kind of explain that because I didn't say that well. So, one, awesome that you can get all these skills. The fact that this is all of them, and you can get all of them and have all of them on, and you can't turn any of them off, in my opinion, is dumb. Borderlands is a game of choices and builds. The fact that you can just equip all of these while being cool, I think is silly. I think that their whole thing when they were announcing and talking about Borderlands is that you're never going to have two Zanes in the game that are using the same builds. You're never going to have two of the exact same Zanes, two of the exact same Amaras. They're all going to be different. Each character that joins your game or whoever plays with you is going to be different. I don't know if I'd really agree with that. Like, obviously, there's a difference. There are like a lot of like cookie cutter builds and stuff like that. There are a difference in people's like stats that they have on their stuff. And there obviously is a lot more build diversity than there was in Borderlands 2, so that's great. But if you could pick and choose your Guardian ranks, like, let's say, here's like my vision, or something that I thought would be cool. Obviously, I'm not a game developer, not a game designer. Gearbox did a great job, but just like if I had like my say in like stuff like this, it would be really cool if you could spend some points and get some perks for beating normal mode. And then once you beat True Vault Hunter mode, then you could unlock a separate set of perks. This would add value to playing True Vault Hunter mode, and because as of right now there really isn't much point of playing True Vault Hunter mode. The skippable cutscenes is a pain in the butt, but if there were points that you could put into skills here, that would be awesome. And obviously, if you have a limited amount of points, you can't get every skill. So what is the benefit of continuously playing? Well, if you could continuously play, imagine if these were percentage-based skills and you could slowly level them up like your Guardian rank. So, like, obviously these are, some of these are, like, based, but, like, for example, this increases gun damage by 2% for 1 second with each shot. Imagine if we could, like, go down this tree and pick this skill, and now we have plus 2% for 1 second with each shot. But when we beat True Vault Hunter mode, we unlock the like prime version of this, and now we can start leveling it up. I don't know why I said like prime version, like, you know what I mean. Like, there's like a tiered version of this skill, And now in true Vault Hunter mode, you gain bonuses that you wouldn't have gotten in normal Vault Hunter mode. And now you can level up this skill. So now it's going to be by 5% for 1 second with each shot. And then you had to pick if you wanted to go into damage and play a damage build, or if you wanted to play into more tankier, more loot and resources based. The division between these also skills aren't super great. Like, I wish that they picked, I guess, better categories for these, and then you would have to, like, invest in certain trees. It'd also be cool if there was some team abilities in here. Team abilities, you guys know, there's two separate, there's very different players in Borderlands. There's players that play alone and players that don't play alone, that want to play with friends. I've played a lot of this game alone, but I would very much welcome playing with people. For me, just like because I do a lot of testing and stuff like that, I can't really have other people in the game. But I think that Guardian rank will be improved. I think what they're going to do with this is in expansions, they're going to add more. They're just going to increase this list, and you're able to scroll down and spend more of those Guardian ranks into new skills. That's cool, but that's just going to get stale again, just like these got stale, you know? Once you're here, like, there isn't any new way to change this. And the fact that you can't disable this is so dumb. Because as like a content creator who wants to make builds and guides and stuff for people, or just to like test your damage, stuff like that, it would be great if we could turn these off, because not everyone is going to be Guardian rank 241, and sometimes builds will perform differently. But yeah, I think that they should change this to something like how your skills are, but still add the fact that you can increase the bonuses to them. And obviously it's hard to make something that'll last forever. But let's say you have your Guardian rank from just playing, right? Imagine if you could gain bonus ranks or bonus things, or like you had to hard cap at 15. Imagine there was a hard cap at 15 points, right? But for every challenge that you did, or let's say you killed all the rare spawns, you would get a point to put into something to make it 16%, like off of 1 point, or like something that would incentivize you for being a completionist. Right now, there isn't really any incentive in this game to go explore every corner of the map, go hunt down all the cool enemies. You can finish this game, grab anything, and go kill Grave Ward, and not have to do any other activity in the game. You know? Beat all proving grounds in 5 minutes or less. Boom. Exclusive skill or rank, or being able to add something past 15 that if someone hasn't been able to beat all the proving grounds in under 5 minutes, they don't have that perk. That would show the difference between builds of what can do this, what can do that, and incentivize players to do more activities. Like, I'm doing this activity here. There is absolutely no reason that I'm doing this activity. I don't get anything from this. This is an activity where, if you guys haven't done this Proving Grounds, like, no legendaries spawn or drop. I'm already, like, Guardian rank max, like, trying to go faster. There's no scoreboards, there's no leaderboards. If there was a leaderboard with your friends to show, like, hey, like, look what my build can do. I did this on this time. Imagine if there was a leaderboard where you could see who was at the top, and then you could go over and see the gear and the build they ran it with. How freaking cool would that be? To, like, be able to prove, like, oh, this build is really good, and then people that are just getting out, just getting started, and they need inspiration or like a goal to hunt down or gear that they want, they could see what build ran the fastest times and say, oh, like I want to get this piece of gear. Like clearly it works. So like leaderboards, obviously very cool. In a game like this, they would make a big difference. I'm not much of like a leaderboard chaser kind of person. Personally, like I've never really been super into that in video games, but in a game like this, it would add a lot to the end game. And like when all of this just boils down to increasing the replayability of the game and the amount of meaningful hours to put into the game. Changing up the Guardian rank so that players get rewarded for doing different activities, for playing True Vault Hunter mode, and then with their rewards have to make meaningful and important decisions because of that. For their build would be, oh, I didn't even know I could freeze this guy. Sorry. Would be really cool. It doesn't need to all be bosses. Like, obviously, I want invincible bosses and raid bosses and more endgame activities, but if you give me a reason to do the activities in the game that are already here, if there's an actual reason to do them, besides like increasing my gamer score, that would be a tremendous improvement to the game. Like I said in the last podcast, when people join my streams and they're like, is this all there is to do? I'm like, yeah, pretty much. Like, there really isn't much else you need to do or have to do in this game. And that's why I think this game, I don't want to say this game is dying, because obviously there's a big fan base of Borderlands, there's a big community, but in terms of like people who are like casually into Borderlands and picked up Borderlands, almost all of my friends have moved on. The numbers on Twitch are like really down. Borderlands, the amount of streamer or view people that are watching Borderlands right now on Twitch is like 2,000 typically, versus like when it came out it was like over 10,000, like easily. Obviously that's gonna happen with any game, just because of once you've seen it, like you've kind of seen it. But in terms of like things to do and activities to watch, like having leaderboards, having trials, things that you can actually prove yourself in, would add a lot to, one, reasons for people to watch, and two, add more like, I wouldn't say like replayability, but like games like Fortnite and like PUBG, for example, like you can watch a stream every single day and never get bored of it. Borderlands is obviously a different kind of beast because it isn't like a multiplayer game like that. But if you added more challenges that are more meaningful to the game, you could add a lot more interesting things, and things for people to see and things for people to do in the game, and I think that would be amazing. So that was my rant on Guardian ranks. We're going to talk a little bit about character designs and how the characters panned out in this game. Not really going to be like talking about like voice acting or like character models. Just more about like how fun each character is and how they work. I have played all the characters. The only character I haven't gotten to level 50 is Flak, so I'm less qualified to speak on him. And Moze, I do have less hours, so mainly focusing on what I've heard from other people, and from what I've seen myself. But overall, I'm really happy with the characters in Borderlands 3 and how they panned out. Obviously, I think the sheer amount of the fact that there's so many people playing different characters. In the beginning, it seemed like it was very much all Zane, or not Zane, all Flak players. I don't know if that's still the case. I don't know if Flak is still the most popular character, but he certainly was. I think once YouTubers such as myself and others showed what Amara could do. She definitely rose on that popularity list, so that's super cool for me and others. But the change in build diversity from something like Amara to Maya, two characters that I have a lot of time on, is tremendous and really, really cool. I'm super, super happy with the way that they gave each character kind of like a shtick. Like Amara has all these action skills and then can change elements. Zane can have multiple action skills up at the same time. All of that is, in my mind, brilliant. The execution on them is a little here and there, right? But just like, for example, if you guys are watching this, you've probably seen how many build videos I was able to come out with Amara that are all like endgame viable, all really fun, and like all have absolutely nothing to do with each other. So in terms of that, like, that's really, really awesome. I do really wish that they had made something that you could like switch elements on the fly with Amara instead of like tabbing out, or not tabbing out, like going into your menu. If you could just switch like by hitting the down button or like the D-pad, that would be really, really cool and a nice quality of life improvement. But overall, I'm happy. I think Amara is a shining example of good character design. Obviously, not all of her skills worked, and how non-working skills got by Gearbox, I just think that they didn't test it. But the design and idea of the characters is great. The implementation and the viability is where it falls flat. Take Zane, for example. Zane was, I think, in many people's eyes, the most underperforming character at endgame, at launch. From what I heard, Zane was really, really broken. Broken as in good, not as in broken like none of his skills work, like he is right now. But broken in the way that he was really powerful. And I heard that Gearbox nerfed him right before release. Once again, interesting choice because he wasn't like the most popular character. I don't know if I believe that. That's just a rumor that I've heard. But the implementation of Zane's abilities and skills is where it falls flat, and there's a big difference between I'm going to call it solo agenda trees, where each tree obviously has, and on all these characters, each tree obviously has a capstone, an augment, and a general theme of them. But I think that when you make a skill tree and you build a skill tree around like one thing is where you can really hurt yourself. Two examples of that, I don't know if that made sense in wording, but two examples of that is Moses' infinite ammo tree. Take Moses' infinite ammo tree, obviously has some cool things on it, obviously does some cool stuff, and the end goal is infinite ammo. But infinite ammo in its own isn't a cool tree to build around, because your whole thing that you're just accomplishing through that is infinite ammo. What I mean by that is, if you look at a character like Amara, in her, you could take any tree from Amara. In her like melee tree, you have like things boosting splash damage, movement speed, melee damage, being up close, melee range, like all of these different things where you can make different builds you can make so many builds off of that one tree. Like, you can dip into that tree and come out with great things. And that works for all of Amara's trees, basically. You can like dip here and there between any of her trees and really get a great benefit. skill trees such as Zane's Hitman tree, and the double agent kind of fall flat in that way. Obviously, there's some cool things, but when you have a skill tree just dedicated to kill skills, super cool, sounds awesome, but it does fall a little flat just because the intrigue of that isn't as cool as, say, being an Amara player, and having a ton of different bonuses from her tree, or different, not bonuses. It's hard to explain. I don't know if I'm making any sense, but being in one tree can grant a ton of different playstyles versus just Zane's Hitman tree is, oh, I killed something, now I'm better, It's now I'm better versus introducing new gameplay mechanics. It's just flat percentage increases into skills. So now I have more reload speed. Now I have more fire rate. In terms of that, it's just not as interesting as of a mechanic as now all of my bullets are going to ricochet and ignite everything that they ricochet to. It just adds different things to it versus more of a flat I killed something, now I'm better off kind of vibe. Not hating on Zane, obviously I just made a Zane build. I didn't know how much I was gonna like Zane. I do like his playstyle a lot. But I do think that there are trees that are clearly more interesting than other trees. And that kind of leads us into Gearbox's discussion of adding new skill trees to the characters, along with level cap increases. First off, level cap increases, I cannot wait for them. They're gonna... Increasing the level just increases the amount of diversity in builds that we can have, and who knows, it could change around the whole meta. Zane with plus 10 action, 10 more points, you could do some crazy things. It goes along with all the other characters. I do think the addition of new skill trees could be very cool as long as they're well thought out, and when they do bring out the trees, if they've genuinely done the playtesting that they need to for the trees to work. No one is going to be happy if they release a new skill tree for your character. You're super excited about it. You go into it, and then half of the skills don't work. That is unacceptable. It can't happen. I feel like people have let Gearbox slide a little bit. Obviously, on Reddit and stuff, people have called it out and brought attention to it. And if there wasn't as a serious player base with this game that does a lot of this testing, this stuff kind of just would have slipped. That was cool. But all 4 new skill trees, as long as they add major improvements to the characters and are genuinely fun and work well. I think the augments is also a good idea for the characters. Adding more, I guess we would call variability in the augments would also be awesome. Last thing I want to say before we end the podcast and go to questions is that Gearbox knew how hard non-player controlled action skills fall off, or how hard action skills can fall off in the endgame. They knew this from Death Trap. They knew it from Accident's Turret. They've seen it happen before. They know how frustrating it is. And the fact that Moses Iron Bear is absolutely useless, and Flex Pets didn't do anything for him at level 50 Mayhem 3. 2 of those characters defining characteristics. Moses, Iron Bear, and Flex Pets. The fact that neither of them were working in the end game, or just not viable, didn't do anything, is really frustrating, and also something that should get fixed. Super cool, the pets in the early game, but in terms of character design, like, they knew what happens to these things in the end game when they turn up the difficulty. And so in terms of like fixes, like adding health to Iron Bear, like, is like, oh duh, like, let's just add health to it. That's not solving the issue of Iron Bear. And is not adding more health to Flex Pets isn't solving the issue of Flex Pets. There needs to be, so in terms of like Moses Iron Bear, just like, I'll just give like my idea of like what could be done about it. So Axton's turrets fell off really hard in Borderlands 2. Axton's turrets didn't do damage in like Mayhem 8, 10, but you still deployed them because of the action skills that you got during the turrets, and the fact that the turrets had a ton of utility. The turrets could draw aggro, the turrets slagged things, the turret could stun things, had a ton of utility, and something like Iron Bear needs to have that same utility and usefulness at endgame, because scaling its damage and making it useful damage-wise is probably never going to be the case. That's never going to be able to keep up damage-wise. It could keep up utility-wise. And I'm just going to head over to Moses' skill tree to show you guys what I mean. So, Mose has a skill called Auto Bear that is in her blue tree. It's a middle skill, and Auto Bear allows Mose to hop out and keep Iron Bear activated. What if you had a very easily unlockable skill? Let's do this. So, like, easily unlockable skill like this, like Daka Bear. Just change this to Auto Bear. Change this to easily unlock it so that you can now have Auto Bear out, right? This is just an idea that I thought of, and obviously wouldn't exactly go like this, but like, change Auto Bear to something like this, or like a one-pointer in the very beginning, and then this skill, make it in, this is a tree that focuses on Iron Bear. Make this skill have something like Slag, have something like Laid Bear, where Iron Bear is deployed, but now every enemy that's damaged by Iron Bear is going to take 10% increased damage from all sources. Something like that is such an easy fix that instantly changes the usefulness of Mose and gives you the wow factor of like, now I'm always going to be fighting alongside Iron Bear, and Iron Bear is actually going to be useful. Having Iron Bear up is going to increase my damage, and even if it isn't working as like a mech that I want to be in all the time, at least you get some usefulness out of her action skill. Something like that would drastically change the interaction and feel of Iron Bear. It probably wasn't what Gearbox would have intended with Iron Bear. I see that they like hop in, do damage, you're invincible. But being able to actually benefit from Iron Bear, because none of these action skills are going to scale like with damage in these end games. Action skills need to have utility. That's why Amara works so well, because Amara's action skills you can use for crazy amounts of utility. Make Iron Bear have some more utility besides just the anointments. The anointments are great, but having anointments shouldn't be the only reason that you auto-deploy Iron Bear and then hop out immediately. There needs to be some more player interactions with Iron Bear. And yeah, that is my rant on the characters. We're going to move into Twitch questions, but hope you guys enjoyed Twitch stream. After this, we're still going to be streaming, we're still going to be playing, but we're about to go into the questions. If you do have a question and you're in the chat right now, make sure to type it out in one thing, and we got mods in here that'll help facilitate. But yeah, hit me with any of your questions, and we'll I'll answer like 3 to 5 of like the first ones, the best ones that I see. Let's see. North Bacon says, "How do you feel about like team skills? Since to me it feels like there's not a lot of co-op skills." So, I was surprised by the change in team skills. In Borderlands 2, team skills like immediately that come to mind are I'm blanking on its name, but Maya's ability to res characters with her phase grasp, and also like heal people. That was probably one of the biggest team skills in the game, and kind of like an essential part of any like end game group. In this game, they added basically every character has a way to self res themselves. And because every character has a skill that basically can get them off of their feet, just by doing that, they eliminated a lot of the need for co-op, which is fine. Like, I understand, like, some people want to play alone, and without Moxsy weapons, it's a lot easier to go down, if you're not rocking, like, a great build. But the team skills are there, but they don't work, and there's no reason to play with a teammate. That's what I'll say. The team skills are there. Amara has laid bare. Zane has his shield that he can deploy in front of a bunch of people. Never have I ever seen a Zane put out a shield and all of his teammates stay in his bubble and shoot out of it and work together to DPS a target. If there is a raid boss or an enemy that requires that, and that skill works as intended, because right now it doesn't, I could definitely see that, and that would be cool. You got Zane using Zane using his barrier to give everyone amp damage. You have laid bare proccing to do increased damage. You have Moze with her skill in her orange tree that's right here that gives everyone bonus gun damage, and her slower fire rate and incendiary damage. Flax got Gamma Burst to heal everyone. The team synergies are there, but there currently isn't any reason to use them because there's no reason to play with anyone else, because there isn't any content that requires you to play with anyone else, and the rewards aren't there. The team skills, I think, would be really cool, and I'm excited to see if the game changes to use team builds. I was like kind of working on like a medic Amara build, but at the moment there isn't any playing with other people really. So that is my thought on that. Isn't it obvious that Gearbox reserved a lot of the actual endgame content for DLCs? Says Quiet C. Yeah, it is, and it's upsetting. Obviously, Gearbox knows what they're doing. Obviously, they have experience with endgame, and they've seen what games like Destiny have. Their whole touting of like releasing a full game with DLCs and stuff like that. No one saw that like, oh, like all of the end game is basically going to be behind DLCs or free updates. We don't know. But it is shocking to the point where it's like how did they not include like one invincible enemy in the base game? It feels like almost like they stripped the end game, like there was end game here, like more end game, and then they stripped it and then locked it or gonna put it behind stuff just to like stave off the player base. You know what I mean? Nigerian wants to know my thoughts on adding more characters instead of adding skill trees. Is it better or worse? I feel like I might have hinted about that earlier and in my last podcast. I think new characters is essential. New characters, all right, new trees add build diversity and more things to play around with. But if you add a new tree and you're max level, there's no reason to like redo anything. You can just spec into that tree, give it a go, give it a try, and kill some things and be done with it. You know, adding a tree requires a lot of work for everything to work properly, and then you can play that tree and be done with it in the course of a day. You know, adding a new character adds so much. It adds new gear, it adds new playthroughs, it adds new strategies, it adds new mechanics. If I had to pick one or the other, I would go with adding a new character, because adding a new character is a tremendous more amount of content than a new tree. New trees are cool, they're great, but if I'm a level 50 Amara with 300 hours of playtime, I can play that new tree and be done with it and be pleased and content with it in a day. It doesn't add anything to my gameplay experience besides trying something out and then being done with it. But like, you could just try like new builds here. I'd like, I wouldn't be surprised and I wouldn't be upset if they added a new skill tree. Obviously, new skill trees are fun, but they just don't do the same thing that a new character does. How do I feel like they haven't fixed the lag issues and or even acknowledged that it's there and then trying to fix it? Yeah, this game has a lot of performance issues. It's frustrating that they haven't touched it and they like nerfed the Cutsman over fixing. My video that I put out today, guys, the Zane build, my whole Xbox shut off 3 times during recording, which is really frustrating. The game just froze and crashed. I haven't tried the split screen yet. I don't know if they've really made any improvements to split screen. But split screen being such a huge identity of Borderlands, blown away the fact that split screen didn't work. I recently learned that like you can like lag your game and other people's games. Like you could just see this menu lag is like really atrocious. Hopefully it gets fixed. Hopefully they're working on it, but it is frustrating that they're pretty much silent about it. Oh, is my phone buzzing? I apologize. Do I think Gearbox will nerf blue guns if people find some stuff? Oh, real quick, another thing. People are talking about Mercy, Amara, and Medic Maya. Kind of sad that your class mod doesn't show up in the bottom. Like, you know how like in Borderlands 3, like when you joined a game or in your bottom, it gave you like a title of your build, like Breakneck Banshee, like a lot of things, just kind of something that I miss. You could be even cooler if like it like showed something about your stats. Like if I've joined a game and I was a flurrying solitary breaker, and like I don't know. There's some stuff that could be done with that just isn't there. Let's see. Shotty to Your Body says that they acknowledge performance and they're working on it. That's good. Yeah, they said they weren't going to do any new characters. That, to me, sounds dumb. The player base is there. The interest is there. The desire is there. putting new characters into the game is printing money. It's literally printing money to them. They charge $15 for a new character. I would pay $15. It's not a random crate. If they make me pay $10 for a chance to unlock a new character, I'd be upset. But if I could pay $15 and get a new character with all new equipment and stuff, and it costs them a certain amount, and they can make a new character and charge everyone $15 that want to play the new character, that's free money for them. They're just printing currency at that point. So I would be really shocked. I know I've seen them say that they don't want to make another character. I'm still very skeptical about that. Maybe because I'm biased and I really want a new character. But in terms of like a business perspective, it seems like a really odd decision to me. Let's see. We'll look at see if there's one more question. Equinox Thunder, last question says, how do you feel that all Guardian rank skills are the same? I feel as if they should be different per character to specialize towards their gameplay style, and each of those 3 trees would match 3 of their skill trees. So, yeah, obviously that would be cool. I get the reason why they're the same, though. Your skill trees are what are unique to your character, and how you want to play your character. Skill trees are unique. How you spend your points on your character is unique to you. Guardian ranks, all having the same skills for all the characters. All of these are very general. So I understand that they're all the same for each character. And having to spend points and all of these being different would just be like adding another 3 skill trees. So, and would complicate things even more. So I'm honestly happy. I'm fine with this being shared among all characters. What I don't like, which doesn't make sense to me, is that you can't have the option to spend the points differently per character. If this is a choice, which they're eliminating by making it all the same for each character, they're just once again limiting playstyles and like variety and options in the game. I have melee damage on my Amara. I spent points, Guardian ranks, into melee damage because I was playing a melee Amara. I guarantee you I will never need melee on Zane. Unless we release a melee Zane build. But the fact that I'm sitting with a bunch of points spent on melee when I play Zane, when I play Moze, is irritating and silly. If you could have the option to just be the same, or you could go through and spec them individually, it would add more diversity to each one of your characters that you had, because you could make multiple characters with different specs. I could make a Mara character that I just spent every single point on melee damage, you know? But it is frustrating, and it's frustrating that you can't disable it. Like, I don't want, if I'm running a Brawler's Ward, I don't want shield recharge delay and shield recharge, or I don't want shield recharge delay, because I want my shield to be down all the time. So the fact that you can't disable them, the fact that you can't spend them differently, is really confusing to me, and I hope that changes. All right, that was it for the podcast. Hope you guys enjoyed. Just like last time, genuinely interested and curious about what you guys think, what your opinions are, if you agree with me, if you disagree, or how you think this could be improved. For our next podcast, hopefully the Day 30 patch will be out. Hopefully the Halloween event will be out or right around the corner, so we'll talk about that. But this was our rant on Guardian rank and character design. If you have any preference to what you want us to talk about in the next one, let me know. But I hope you guys enjoyed. Twitch stream, we're still going to be streaming after this, so don't go anywhere. But yeah, peace.